I really like it because this is the new paradigm with the online and remote work, right?
Yeah,
This is great. So
exactly.
in Mexico, you need to pay taxes based on three main hypotheses or conditions, right? There's three of them. So if you are a Mexican resident, I'll get into what that means in a bit. You need to pay
Hmm.
taxes. If you acquire income from Mexican sourced wealth, I'll get to what that means in a bit as well. You need to pay taxes.
Sure.
Or if you have a permanent establishment here in Mexico as an expat, like as a foreign entity, if you have a permanent establishment in Mexico, you need to pay taxes. So, what does these three categories mean? Apart from the specific case of a remote worker, right? You're a remote worker and you need to figure out in which of these three uh,
Category.
categories you fit and if you need to pay taxes of or not, basically. So, in the first category, if you're a Mexican resident or not, this is determined. The rule of thumb, the general rule of thumb, is whether you have a whether is your residence, your permanent residence, situated in Mexico. So if you have a permanent residence, you live permanently in Mexico, you will need to pay taxes, right? However, this is ambiguous because global citizens, unlike remote workers, digital nomads, they're citizens of the world. So, what exactly does it mean to have a permanent residence in Mexico? Is it 6 months? Is it 1 year? Like, who knows? However,
You should have card. Actually, you cannot
yeah,
live more than 6 months as a tourist,
yeah,
according to the law.
exactly. So, for instance, there's this in the immigration side of things. As a
Mhm.
tourist, you're not allowed to live more than 6 months. So, a queue for you to maybe consider if you are a permanent resident of Mexico is that whether you live or have lived for more than 6 months here, right? In a fixed way. But the truth is, and in all honesty, is that these laws were not designed to conceive this new online remote phenomena, right? That's the truth. So let's move now to the second category, whether you earn income from Mexican source wealth. So, as an online worker, is your employer Mexican? Are your clients Mexican? If it's yes to these questions, then you are considered a tax resident for tax purposes. You need to pay taxes in Mexico. If the answer is not, my employer is from the US or from other country that is
I
not
am
Mexico.
self-employed. I am self-employed, for example.
Okay. If you are, for instance, if you're self-employed, are your clients Mexican? So regarding your Mexican clients, you will need to pay taxes for your Mexican clients. Right? That's an obligation. For example, if you're self-employed, like a typical case, artists, right?
Yeah.
Artists that come to Mexico and perform. Their clients, if they come to Mexico and perform here, their clients are Mexican,
Yeah.
basically. Right? They're earning income from Mexican source wealth, so they need to pay taxes. That's the same with the freelancers, right? If your clients are Mexican, you have to pay taxes regarding your Mexican clients. Not all clients, just the Mexican
Yeah.
clients, right? And the third one is if you have a permanent establishment here, and that is more the case for entities, for corporations, companies, right? Legal entities. If a legal entity comes in Mexico and does business here, conducts its operations here, it will be considered a tax resident if it has a fixed place, like an office or a fixed person, which engages in the entity's business model or business activities of this entity in Mexico in a fixed place, right? For instance, if the DHL, right, has an office, a permanent fixed office here, and it conducts its business through these offices, then it'll be considered a taxpayer for the income generated in Mexico, right? For its income. And so no matter that, it doesn't matter that the DHL is a German company, it will pay taxes because it has fixed offices here in Mexico.
Okay, great. I learn a lot, and I believe listeners get valuable examples and explanation. Obviously, we cannot touch and shouldn't touch all. For this purpose, there is a membership program of Outbound Mexico to
Yeah.
be engaged, because there are and would be many different questions. And I believe to get even clarification of how correctly approach like personal matters or business matters in Mexico, it's better to have legal support, I would say.